Half of Canada's residents in urban centers are eyeing more affordable markets in Canada. There was a recent report from Roll Page went through how residents in some of Canada's biggest urban centers are looking elsewhere for more affordable options. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor here in Toronto. Let's take a look at what those options are for more affordable pricing around the country in Canada, especially if you live in a city like Toronto or Vancouver. And if you ever wanted to book in a call to discuss happening here in the Toronto real estate market, you can click on that first link in the description down below. Every quarter, Roll Page comes out with a affordability index in which cities are the most affordable. This may surprise you, but the old saying used to be drive till you qualify, but now that drive is getting longer and longer. Here's a spoiler alert, the top city on the most affordability list. I won't spoil what that city is, but drop a comment down below on what you think it is. And here's a hint, it is in Ontario, although maybe not super close to Toronto. If we hop over to BlogTO, first article that pops up, people looking to escape Toronto prices most likely to move to this cheap Ontario city. If you haven't dropped your guess down below, throw it in the comments. It does say that small towns with cheaper real estate are attractive. The Greater Toronto area's high prices have leaked to surrounding areas. And for those who want to hold on to city life, there are still countless options that are more economical than any Toronto area locales. As always in these videos, I like to go to the root article, and there's two reasons why. The first one is I'd like to see exactly which data they're polling and where they're getting the data from. And also, these clickbaity headlines might serve as a purpose more so to get views than to actually tell a full story. Going over to Roll Page's website, it does say half of residents in Canada's largest urban centers eyeing move to more affordable real estate markets. Quebec City and Edmonton are top choices for relocation, cost of living, and proximity to nature among the driving factors. Before we jump into the most affordable cities in Canada, I took a look at the fine print to see exactly who was surveyed, and it looks like they surveyed 900 Canadian residents age 18 plus living in Canada's three largest areas, Greater Toronto, Greater Montreal, and Greater Vancouver between May 13th and May 16th. I'm no math expert, but in Greater Toronto area alone, we have about 7 million people. So 900 across three greater metro areas when one of those cities is over 7 million is not a very big sample size when it comes to saying that half of residents in Canadian largest markets considering a move to more affordable real estate markets. Here's the key highlights. Thunder Bay tops the list as the most affordable city in Canada. The second thing I did when I read this article was see exactly how far away the most affordable city is from a major center. Number one, Thunder Bay, Ontario is almost 1,400 kilometers away from the city of Toronto, 1,399 kilometers to be exact, according to Google Maps. It would take 14 hours and 33 minutes to drive to Thunder Bay from Toronto. You could also take a train, about 22 hours. You could walk, it would take you about 12 days, bike 4 days, or the easiest, a flight, which is about 2 hours. Back to the article, they go through all different areas in Canada, 15 of the most affordable cities, 4 are located in Quebec, 4 in the Atlantic provinces, none in British Columbia made the list. 54% of respondents in Greater Montreal area, 51% in the Greater Toronto area, 45% in Greater Vancouver would consider relocating to one of the most affordable cities. Quebec City's popular destination amongst those in Greater Montreal, and Edmonton is the top ranking choice for Toronto and Vancouver. It also goes on to say that renters are more likely to relocate due to affordability, and the lower cost of living, not only housing prices, especially when you are close to nature, is another key factor when relocating. We already spoke about how they interviewed 900 people across all three cities, and they're basing these calculations on a 3-year fixed term mortgage rate of 5.71%, 25-year amortization, and 20% down payment. Here they are, the top 15 most affordable cities in Canada. Thunder Bay, number one, aggregate home sale price of Q1 2024, just under $300,000. Monthly mortgage at $1,563, and the median total household income, $84,400. And to calculate affordability, they are using the percentage of income required to service a monthly mortgage payment. Thunder Bay, 22%. St. John, New Brunswick at just under $268,000. Monthly mortgage payment, $1,400. Median total income, $67,000 for the household, which is 25.1% affordability. And you can read through all these other cities, Red Deer, Trois-Rivières, and Edmonton rounding out the top 5. Surprisingly, Quebec City at number 8. Quebec's an amazing city. Definitely worth going on a quick vacation there at the very least. Really cool. And Fredericton, New Brunswick. I did go to school at University of New Brunswick. Great city. The water there is beautiful. It's a really, really nice town. And then in In Ontario, you also have Windsor, which has made the top 15 list. And that's the only other city in Ontario that made the list, which the aggregate price is just under $500,000. And again, the provincial median total household income, $84,400. Now, I find it interesting that they use the provincial median total household income because that also does include a city like Toronto when going through this chart. I'm curious as to why they didn't just use the city household median income to make it a little more relative on the affordability scale. I'm sure these articles will come out all over social media. When you are looking at these articles, there's three factors to really consider when seeing if Canadians are actually looking to move to more affordable cities across the country. The first one is that they polled 900 people across the three biggest centers in Canada, which those three centers combined have over 10 million people living in those areas. 900 divided by 10 million is 0.0009. So that is less than 0.001% of the population that live in those cities that they interviewed for the respondent answers. The second is that they use provincial median income when calculating how affordable a city is to live. If you are using provincial income, then you are factoring in cities like Toronto, which does play a factor when it comes to the median income of a province. They should have used the median income of a city like Thunder Bay to really get a better understanding on how affordable that city actually is when looking from a purchase price standpoint to the median income standpoint. The third factor is proximity to major centers. And if you don't work from home and you do need to get into office, moving to a city like Thunder Bay is 14 hours away from Toronto if you had to drive. Not exactly the commute you can make on a daily basis. In fact, the only way to get to Toronto for work would be to fly, which would get you here about 2 hours, which if you have been living in somewhere like Niagara Falls trying to get to Toronto would probably take you over 2 hours to commute at this point. But that being said, there is an element of getting to the airport and flying. If you only have to do it maybe once a month, for example, maybe that becomes an option for you. But if it is something you need to be in a major center like Toronto to do your work, moving that far away might not be a viable option for most people. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on what you think of this affordability list. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.